All right, straight on to the headlines, what we have on our front page of our local dailies. Let me start with the Star newspaper. Eyes on Kalonzo as Raila deputy selection begins. Eyes on Kalonzo as Raila deputy selection begins. Allies insist that he does not need to be interviewed for the role. I'll give you more details to that story shortly. Tifa survey puts Raila Odinga ahead of Ruto in Nairobi, Makueni and Mombasa. According to the poll, whose findings were released yesterday, shows that Raila is leading in Nairobi with 41% against DP Ruto, who is second with 26%. In Nairobi, Raila's ODM is the most popular political party, in which 26%, while Ruto's UDA comes second with 22%. In position 3 is President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party with 5% support. However, some of 44% of the city dwellers are yet to decide which party to support. And also on the front page here, MP Sankok was questioned by the DCI over son's suicide. That is a story that is still unfolding, and we'll get more details when and how we get there. All right, Ranbaga, Kibaki scolded anti-accord aides in my presence. That is according to former U.S. Ambassador Michael Ranbaga, who said that he witnessed former President Mwai Kibaki reprimand his advisors who opposed the 2007-2008 deal with ODM boss Raila Odinga. Ranbaga served in the country between 2006 and 2011 and was the U.S. pointman during the deadly 2007 post-election violence that claimed lives of over 1,000 people. Story worth reading. Court delays weekend extrajudicial killings cases. According to lobby groups, they said that the activists say that lengthy litigations set up cases for police abuse for failure, as witnesses often forget their accounts after waiting too long to testify. So they are asking the judiciary to expedite the cases that are still pending in court. There's a story here. Robbers raid Naivasha petrol station and loot over 300,000 bob. It said that they terrorized the attendants for over 3 hours. That was on Sunday. The 6 suspects who were dressed in police jackets first locked the workers in a store near Kayole Shopping Center before breaking into the office and looting the cash and electronics. The key word here is 3 hours. And finally, all eyes on Kalonzo as Raila running mate vetting begins. It is said that snubbing the interviewing panel, analysts believe that would technically knock Kalonzo out of the contention. Yet, he would also be seen to be desperate if he showed up for the interviews. Whatever position Kalonzo takes in the next 6 days would either make or break his political career. His allies insist that he does not need to be interviewed for the role. How this is going to pan out is an interesting bit. So let me give you some of the possible running mates. We have got Peter Kenneth, Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Lee Kinyanjui, Sabina Chege, Alfred Mutua, and finally Peter Munya. Who will be the ultimate winner? More details later on. Jen.
Now, let me just pick it up from that point concerning the question about the next DP. It is actually the main read here on the front page of the Daily Nation, and pictured therein just but a few of the names that you have mentioned. And that story has been covered across 5 pages here on this particular daily. And they've gone ahead to just focus on each individual and just give a rundown of their credentials, their experience, what they have done over the years in the political space, mind you, looking at the Azimio side of the divide as well as the Kenya Kwanza Alliance potential DP, and of course the running mate, which we're hoping will be named in the next few days. But that is the main read here. And, they go on to say that, one of these men and women could become Kenya's next deputy president in less than 100 days to come. And as the front runners of these particular parties and coalitions, as they are going about just deciding on who will be their running mate, little is known about these aspirants. So who are they? And that is what they have gone ahead to just give you a breakdown and the background of these individuals, which I'll be giving you in just a bit. Again, the story concerning Sankok's son has also been featured here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Here they go on to say that Sankok's son, killed in gun incident, had refused to go back to school. But once you get to read that story, you will get to read the daughter's account. That is Rosemary Naserian Sankok, the firstborn daughter of Honorable Sankok. She's 21 years old. She gave her account of the incidents that happened, but she goes on to clarify that the brother, that is Memusi Sankok, aged 15, had issues with going back to school, but they were able to talk it out, and he agreed to go back to school. And after that, they were said to have gone to the family's resort, only to arrive at the gate and be met by one of their relatives saying that, you know, an incident has happened at home and the dad needed to go back home. That story has been covered in great detail here. And of course, the DCI also clarified. Oh, I am back. They also clarified that Sankok was not summoned. They just got his account of the whole incident, recorded a statement at his home, and they are still investigating how the son was able to access the safe, the gun which was said to have been in a safe where it was stored. However, it is expected that investigations are still ongoing and that an autopsy will be done by today, and then the funeral arrangements can proceed after that. So that is what has been captured in regards to that story here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Again, matters entertainment with the Met Gala having happened this weekend. And finally, court face-off after police bosses ignore order to reinstate pay. That is the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. Doreen.
Well, while the stories ahead and Raila given the fact that it's only 2 weeks away up until every presidential candidate gets to submit the names of their running mates. And also this happens at a time whereby the Wiper Party is saying that the party leader will not be present in those interviews. In fact, they're actually saying that the representative who is in that 7-member that is supposed to conduct this interview, they are actually planning to remove their representative from that 7 members that are supposed to conduct this interview. So really, will the party leader go ahead in going for these interviews, or will he withdraw, just as what the party is saying? Because part of also what they are saying is that this is demeaning for Kalonzo, given his experience. He's also been a deputy vice president before, and again, looking at his history when it comes to politics. Also, again, much of what they're saying is that when it comes to Raila Odinga as the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance flag bearer, he didn't apply for this position. So then why are they subjecting these other running mates to apply for the running mates position? So even as this is happening, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu is saying that she is also best suited for this position if they are going to choose a running mate from the Ukambani region. And when we get the details, I'll be telling you particularly why she is saying that, again, also drawing back to history and what she has done. Remember that she's also vied for presidency before. And away from that, transition to secondary school begins. As we had mentioned earlier, this is beginning today. And what the ministry is saying, that out of the 1 million candidates who sat for the 2021 KCPE exams, the ministry will ensure that all of these candidates will actually get a placement to secondary school. This is in line with the 100% transition to secondary schools. And again, also going by that particular poll by TIFA, which shows that 53% of city dwellers are undecided on who they would want to elect as their leaders when it comes to president, governor, senator, as well as the women representative. And lastly, 20 MPs on spot of a constituency fund. That is the national government CDF fund. Among these MPs include Westlands Tim Wanyonyi, there's Rarieda Otiende Amolo, as well as Nyali's Muhammad Ali. Part of what they're being accused of is the irregular disbursement of these funds, unscrupulous cash withdrawals, there's unsupported projects, amongst many other things that they're being accused of. Regina.
Copy of the Standard. Quite a replica of what is happening, or rather what the other scribes have captured as top stories, being Wednesday, the 4th of 2022. So it's matters of choosing a running mate. There's a lot of conversation, and analysts will tell you that it's quite a quagmire that presidential candidates find themselves in it. Reports indicate that with over 47 independent contenders and several others under parties, IEBC and security agencies stare at a logistical headache on ballot paper listing and protection of over 100 candidates and running mates. That's a quagmire as far as IEBC is concerned. Now, talking about choosing the running mate, especially for Deputy President William Ruto and former Premier Raila Odinga, who are all presidential aspirants flying the flag for their various, we have Azimio La Umoja there, One Kenya, that is a search for Raila Odinga's running mate. And it's proving to be a headache. The team there has already been selected, 7 of them, and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has thrown the spanner into the works and saying it's demeaning for them to even consider that he might be showing up for that particular interview. The intricate details are going to be made, it's going to be an open conversation, inviting your feedback soon as we speak Matters Politics with Victor in not too long. Then crossing over stories that have made headlines also in this particular front page, we're talking about the impact that world-class events as the Safari World-Class Rally, as well as Keep Kano now has become a class event where we had international athletes taking place. So it has found itself on the front page. We're going to be giving you details as we proceed. We also have a special coverage in this particular daily that goes further to detail the farms that rose and fell with the Kibaki regime. Well, since last week by 1 on Friday, when Kenyans woke up to the news that we had lost the third president, and that is the late Mwai Kibaki there, it's been quite a week of eulogizing a man who's been termed as astute and a patient gentleman who had matters of economy and Kenyans at heart during his tenure back in December 2002 all the way to 2013. Also credit to him that he steered the country to transition from the old constitution to the new constitution in 2010. So that is a special piece that has been captured in this particular daily. And the back page, you can bet it's all about what is happening in the international soccer scene, highlighting the upcoming game tonight that is between Real Madrid there and Manchester City. We're talking about, the La Liga champions, and these ones have come from behind twice this season against PSG and Chelsea. Are we going to be seeing a replica of this tonight at 10 p.m.? Well, your guess is as good as mine. We can only wait and see. That's just but a summary of what the scribes have given precedence in this particular paper this morning.
Victor.
All right. Let's continue. And on the Star, Ugenya family barely surviving after gruesome murder of father. At the time of his killing, his second wife was heavily pregnant with their 4th child, and it said that the incident was reported at Ukwala police station under OB 18. That's 18th day of June 2020. The post-mortem report, which was conducted at Sega Mission Hospital, showed that he died as a result of severe head injury due to sharp penetrating wound. The only thing which was found next to the body was his bicycle and a piece of bar soap, which was his promise to his children who were to report to school. And the case still continues. 6 suspected cattle rustlers arrested in Isinya a day after farmers called for the removal of the Isinya police commander over livestock theft. 6 suspected rustlers have been arrested. It is reported that the suspects were arrested as they tried to sell a stolen cow at the Isinya slaughterhouse at 7 a.m. after they failed to prove ownership. This must end. You pushed your deputy out of government. UDA tells Uhuru. Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro says that they campaigned for the duo, but they were later sidelined. According to Ndindi Nyoro, President Kenyatta was just expressing his frustrations, and should not be the case. On Labor Day, the president accused DP Ruto of being an absentee leader who has instead been focusing on inciting the public against his government, saying that he should have resigned to allow him to pick another deputy who would help him to run the government. But in a quick rejoinder, the MP said that it is dishonest of the president to make the accusations when he is the one that chased Ruto out of government. The blame game. Interesting. As that is happening, Ruto starts 5-day tour of Nyanza and Western Kenya, and according to the program, Ruto will on Wednesday visit, will be in Kisii on Wednesday before crossing to the neighboring Nyamira, and on Wednesday, the DP will be in Busia County. Kenya Kwanza will be in Busia County on Friday, where he will be hosted by CAS Ababu Namwamba. And on Saturday, the Ruto's team will tour Bungoma and hold an economic forum at the Nzoia guest house before holding rallies in Busia and Vihiga. And on Sunday, the DP's campaign entourage will be in Trans Nzoia for an economic forum, and thereafter a series of public rallies at Moi Bridge. That will be in Trans Nzoia. And finally, Raila leads Ruto in 3 counties, says Tifa Paul, which actually we've covered here for you. That was in Makueni, Mombasa, and Nairobi counties. Not yet Uhuru for 44 independent candidates. A record number of 44 independent candidates. And as we speak, IEBC so far have received 7,212 aspirants in total. That's from the governor seat, member of county assembly, MP, as well as women rep and senators. 7,712 candidates in total. A number that analysts say that if you look at the ballot paper, how it would look like on that material day, it will be something to smile about. You can imagine, Jen, you went to 7,000 candidates. In one particular country, you have got 6 women representatives. You have got 7 senators, MPs, members of county assembly. It would take a voter like 20 minutes.
And this goes back to the whole conversation about direct nomination.
Right.
You know, for so many people, they're like, we don't really understand all this direct nomination, its importance or its significance. But then again, it boils down to some of these numbers. And that story has also been featured here. 46 State House hopefuls, 44 independent, and of course, the 2 that are well considered. You know, it was considered a 2-man or a 2-horse race. Until now it is 46. And their names are going to be gazetted and, of course, made public by the 13th of May after they get to go through a rigorous scrutiny by the IEBC. And this was officially confirmed by the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne DeRito. So 46 eyeing the top job. And of course, they were, confirmed on the basis that they are actually individuals who are not members of any political party, being independent. And they also were required to acquire at least 2,000 voter signatures in 24 of the 47 counties. So you can imagine if all 46 of them did manage to go through this process, we are yet to see who these are, their names and their faces. By the 13th of May, we will know who they are. Now, still keeping up with politics, Ngilu joins the growing list of likely running mates, all right? So Ngilu is seen as a likely replacement for Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who is staking out a rather aggressive, and that's the word that has been used here, an aggressive claim for the same seat. So Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu is the latest entrant in the race for the second in command, and of course still in possibly could be Kenya's first female deputy president. So according to a highly placed source in Azimio, Ms. Ngilu's name was on Monday submitted to the panel, and joining, of course, the list that included Peter Kenneth, Martha Karua, Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, as well as Peter Munya, and these are all the ones that are expected to, you know, compete for this particular seat in the Azimio side of the divide. And looking at the Kenya Kwanza, of course, the names still remain to be Kithure Kindiki. We also have Justin Muturi, Anne Waiguru, Rigathi Gachagua, and all of whom are from the Mount Kenya region, which commands a 5.8 million vote block. Now, according to this particular daily, they've gone ahead to give these individuals a title or a name or a sentence that sort of describes who they are. And here they start with Kalonzo. Here they go on to say that Caesar demands, Kalonzo now orders his restless troops. That is a statement that defines his current position, you know, as a man who is commanding a restless troop. They go on to look at Munya. He has been termed as a go-getter who could, and the question being could, unite Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West. When it comes to Peter Kenneth, today I'm on a roll. Peter Kenneth, when it comes to him, he has to weather the UDA storm and fight perceptions that he's an elitist. All right? Shed off that perception that people think he's an elitist in order to just sort of be the potential vice president. When it comes to Martha Karua, her past as human rights defender is a plus. All right? Now comes in Waiguru. Gender and the Mount Kenya card favors her running mate quest. Speaker Muturi. He is the third most he's sort of third in command when it comes to ranking in the country after the president and the deputy president. And here they go on to say, Speaker Muturi hopes to jump from third to second in the line of succession. Can he do so? Well, finally, we have Rigathi, who banks on loyalty and civil service experience to help him become the deputy president. All of them have been given some sort of ideology of who they are. And also, finally, we have Mudavadi, whose backers are still keen to have him deputize the current deputy president, William Ruto, should he ascend to presidency on the 9th of August this year. Well, finally, they go on to describe Kindiki as the pacifier, that the forceful DP needs Kindiki as the pacifier. The pacifier, the one who calms things down. You know, when you think of a pacifier, you just think of a baby. So when you know what it does for a baby, so that's what they go on to describe him by. Looking at this particular daily, you can go ahead and read all this. Has been covered from page 4 through to page 9 of this particular daily. And of course, closing it with the 46 State House hopefuls as they prepare for IEBC scrutiny and rigorous scrutiny that will be happening. And of course, their names being made public on the 13th of May. Doreen.
All right, and just as you talked about the number of independent candidates, there's a article well fleshed out on the PD this morning that just well establishes the scramble for the State House job as well as various other elective positions, at least for this year's general election, whereby it's citing that this is actually the year whereby they, there has been rather a huge turnout when it comes to persons vying for elective positions, with over 7,000, just trying to compare that with 2017, where there was about over 4,000 candidates, and this year alone it has attracted over 7,000. Out of this, the 47 that you mentioned running for independent position, independent for the top position, and there's 9 persons in coalitions, again, running for the top job. Well, when you look at what also political pundits are saying is that, well, some of these persons, particularly also those just trying to vie in the independent ticket, good number of them are just trying to seek popularity, because of what some are saying is that people don't know them. They've not even had their names before. When it comes to discussing or even talking about national issues in this country, they haven't been there. So then how are they coming at this point just vying for this position? But then again, remember that this is actually a right for anyone who wants to vie for such kind of positions. So even as that is happening, There's this article that rightly also puts it why Charity Ngilu says that she is best fit to be the running mate for Raila Odinga, and part of what is coming out is that she says that her history in politics goes back to 1997, where she became the first woman to vie for presidency on the Social Democratic Party. She also says that she fought alongside Raila in the opposition to remove KANU's one-party tyrannical rule, and so amongst other reasons is why she says that if at all they will go ahead and choose a running mate from the Ukambani region, then she is best suit for that compared to Kalonzo Musyoka. So even as this is happening, remember that there are also various factors that are being considered or to be considered when choosing a running mate. There's the question of votes rather, in terms of the kind of votes that a candidate is bringing to the basket, and this is why you've seen a lot of persons from the Wiper Party really complaining and saying that it is not correct to subject Kalonzo to this kind of interviews, given the kind of votes that he brings to the basket. That's just what some are saying. There's the question of gender. You can remember that the other day the IEBC talked about the 2/3 gender rule and how some parties perhaps might be subjected to repercussions if at all they do not meet this. There's the question of ethnicity, or if you be the regional outlook. Again, remember that also in the constitution there's that preserve whereby the executive needs to have a regional outlook. So simply what that means is that if the president is from one region, then the vice president or the deputy needs to be from another region. So again, there's also that factor, and we cannot forget that the politics of this country, in one way or another, or largely, they are ethnic based. And again, also there's that factor of experience. In essence, just trying to say that in the event the president might be in any form of incapacity to perhaps hold that office for a certain reason, then the vice or the deputy president needs to be able to hold that office. So that again, there's also that factor of experience coming out amongst a host of other reasons to be considered, even when it comes to choosing a running mate. So also again, as I had mentioned earlier, the deadline is still set there for in the next 2 weeks, that is by May 16th. All these candidates need to have submitted the names of their running mate as at that time. And also one of the other things that is really coming out, particularly when it comes to the Wiper Party, is that they're now saying that they have also suspended the campaigns for the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga up until they actually get this slot. And remember that also these interviews have begun today, and they are expected to end on the May of 10th, that is next week, Tuesday. So which way will it be, particularly on this coalition, when it comes to choosing of a running mate? Regina. We will be keeping tabs on that, definitely, with this move by Kalonzo Musyoka there, saying that that particular interview will be demeaning to him in as far as his experience and stature in matters politics. Now, another headache is brewing for the IEBC. Why? With the official campaign period for the general election set for May 29th and culminating 2 days before the general elections, there's also another challenge, is that now the 53 presidential aspirants, if they will be cleared, they're looking at confusion of the symbols for parties and the independent candidates. 53 presidential aspirants there. If they're all cleared, what symbols will be used, especially for the independent candidate? My question is, do we know this 47? I can pick a name or two among the lists that have been printed in this particular issue. We have Wawero Joseph Mbogwa. He's an aspirant, presidential hopeful there, actually aspirant there for the August 9th elections. We have Peter Solomuzi, David Muhia, Nixon Kukobo, and a familiar name is Wanjigi Harrison Njoroge. I'm sure you've heard much about them, but a majority of these names sound very unfamiliar to Kenyans. Now, the headache that IEBC is staring at is that, there's the issue of security that should be accorded to these presidential aspirants. And this is according to the Constitution. And also, these presidential candidates are expected to be registered voter.
and meet the moral and ethical requirements. Further on, it's also a good thing, though, if we look at the other side, and rather in hindsight, having this huge number of presidential aspirants, there is that candidates are required to pay a nomination fee of 200,000 shillings and 100,000 shillings for an aspirant who is a youth, a woman, or a person living with disability. Now, this is going to be something. As by yesterday, 7,112 aspirants had been cleared to vie for the August 9th general election. And now, beside the 47, 106 have been given a green light to vie for the governor's seat, 147 to seek the Senate seat, 110 woman representative position, 958 members of parliament, and 5,845 for MCAs. When I see these numbers, I remember the conversation ahead of the budget presentation there, is that IEBC was coming to say that, you know, we are underfunded, and for us to actually conduct a free, fair, transparent process, our budget has to be met. And we saw the allocations that went to it during the proposed budget 2022-2023, and a huge sum actually went to matters of the security and also to enable IEBC there to conduct their elections in a free and fair environment. 44 independent, actually 47 independent aspirants had been cleared to vie for the presidency. Still keeping up with matters politics is that you did not inform us or consult us when you are dropping out of the gubernatorial race. What am I talking about? This is happening in Mombasa County, and this follows businessman Suleiman Shabal's announcement during the Eid Baraza in Mombasa that he will not be running for the governor's position under the as an independent, but rather has backed ODM Abdul Swamad Nasir's bid there for the top seat within the county. Now, some 60,000 voters led by Selina Maither, who Shabal had picked as a running mate, had signed a petition seeking him to vie as the presidential, as an independent candidate in that gubernatorial race there in Mombasa. So all eyes are going to be looking at what is going to come off the interviews that begin today, as Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance, seeks to find a running mate for Raila Odinga. So much is happening in the political scene, but that is going to be put into perspective in not too long. Victor.
All right. I think that's where we wrap it up, and on to the next program. We are taking a break, but when we come back, so much lined up for you. I wanted to read for you your stars today, but I decided to leave it at that.
It is well.
It is well. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.